Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the little bit of delay. That's on me. Well, it's actually on load shedding, to be honest with you. Flip load shedding. I had a few deadlines to meet, so I had to push the interview a little bit back. So that's, blame ESCOM for that. And apparently, we're going to have 5 more years of load shedding. So, yay! Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Joe Emilio Show. Tonight, I'm going to be talking with a very important guest and a man that I greatly admire. But before I bring him on, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget, all right? Don't forget to go check out rebelstoreza.com. Please go check it out. Link in the description. And if you see something you like, buy it. Also, don't forget that you can support this channel for as little as 50 Rand a month, all right? And after 3 months, you get a Rebel hat. You can see there's one Rebel hat right there. In the background, hashtag FootSecANC. For those of you who don't know, hashtag FootSecANC is a thing on Twitter every Friday. And now you can wear it instead of saying it. So you can, after 3 months, if you want that hat, you can get that hat. Or if you want it right now, go to rebelstoreza.com and get that hat. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that you can use the super chat function, which will support this channel, but also highlight your comment and question. And by YouTube law, I have to address it. And you can ask me or my guests any question you like during the course of the interview. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, please give it a like, and please join the Telegram channel. It's not a group, it's a channel. It's just for you to get notified of all the uploads and upcoming shows that I have on this channel. It's way more efficient than YouTube notifications. So give that a try. All the links in the description below. So please go check it out. All right. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some important things to discuss. One of which is the SAPS system, which some of you may know. I've been talking about it a lot on this channel in the past few weeks. It's down, and you know what? I'm going to get the man of the hour. I'm going to get him on to talk about this. Please also, ladies and gentlemen, Paratus, his YouTube channel is in the description below, so please go give him a sub if you haven't yet. He's good. Man knows a lot about guns. If you want to know about guns, he's the man to talk to. All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gideon from Paratus.
Good evening, Joe. Good evening, everybody else in the comment section. I see some familiar faces. It's great to be here, and thanks for the invite.
Of course, of course. I feel that this topic is quite important to talk about, and to explain to people the gravity of what's going on. I still feel that South Africans are quite laxy-daisy, for lack of a better word, when it comes to this topic, which is surprising to me.
Well, it's been one of those weird things. Like I used to complain about it a lot with the firearm rights activism, in the sense that people just do not come to the party when you need them. But I found out that feminists have exactly the same problem. They're all about hashtag "Men Not Trash," but when you get a thing together in front of Parliament to actually protest against rapists getting away with literally raping people, they don't pitch. So I think it very much is a South African disease. It's very easy to be an armchair activist at home behind your MacBook, having your chai latte or whatever it is on the couch, and just type on social media, as some of them obsessively do. But it's a whole nother kettle of fish to actually get them out the house and actually say, okay, you tell me your voice matters. I've given you a grand opportunity to come and shout. Are you going to pitch? No, I'm having my nails done. So no, unfortunately. The apathy is real. It's very real.
Yeah, and they won't even share. They won't even retweet, comment, even at what they do best, which is being behind a keyboard and trying to comment and raise hell and troll and all that stuff. They don't even share an important notification. They don't share a live stream. They don't share a protest poster. They don't even share a video, most of them, which is very disheartening. But speaking about also people not pitching, because you and I were there. You and I were there at that protest on Wednesday, last week Wednesday, and it was cold, it was miserable, it was raining, it was horrible. But we were there, and then we heard through the grapevine that the journalists that were going to be there decided not to pitch because they were offered free cake and tea.
Yep. Yep.
I was like, you
Um,
gotta be kidding me.
well, look, it does illustrate another point is that the vast majority of things that get done in society isn't through mass action. It's always done via that unreasonable hardcore of bitter enders that never let go. And they ultimately hack away at the concrete long enough and violently enough or hard enough over time to get change done. But the recipe is you can never give up and you can never stop. You need to just be relentless like the tide.
Absolutely. And I think Treshka, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, yep, we can learn from the students fighting for free education. Yeah. We actually
Absolutely.
can. I think, but it's, I don't know. Okay. I don't want to get into a whole, debate about free education right now. But I guess, yes, in a way we can learn from them about how they basically stand up, to get what they want. It's just,
Can I be a bit of a conspiracy theorist about this? Because spontaneous mass action that's really enthusiastic, I'm to my day convinced people are getting paid for this. Because you try to get people riled up about real injustice. I'm not trying to minimize anyone's suffering, but the inconvenience of not affording your university tuition is not really on the top 50 list of real bad shit in this country. And there are people that, have real problems, like their children drowning in pit toilets or their children getting run over on unsafe road on the way to school, or everyone getting raped, or more people getting murdered. We could be all night discussing worse things, and we could probably find more than 50. Yet the same level of energetic public demonstration isn't there, because I don't think any third party is funding those demonstrations to exist. Because with money, you might not motivate individuals, but you can motivate enough people to get individuals going, and that's kind of the trick. So I don't think this is as spontaneous as they'd like us to believe. But now I'm taking you off track entirely.
No, not really. I think I think, like I've always said this for the past few days. It's funny to me. It's so funny, and I don't know how people don't see it, or some people don't see it. Every time the ANC is in trouble, every time the noose is tightening around their neck, so to speak, EFF are there with the distraction. There is something really horrible happening behind the scenes. I categorize this SAP, the South African Police Service system that is down in that bucket. There's like a big bucket, and there's different issues in that bucket. This system being down is one of them, and they know they're in crap. The commission, they were meeting again today, and I listened to the commission portfolio police, and they said they're going to expect lawsuits. They know that this has created bad publicity for everyone involved, all the people, all the parties involved, the government, everyone. And so, they're aware that they don't look good. And when the ANC doesn't look good, it seems like the EFF is right there to distract.
And the thing is, the major issue is the country has run out of money. It just doesn't have the liquidity to keep funding all the projects it's funding. So you've got these two critical central SAPS systems down. So the firearm one is essentially the system that, through biometric and electronic firearm scanning, keeps track of all their guns, all around about 500,000 of them. That at the moment hasn't been going for nearly a year. So they're signing out at individual station level guns on a paper permit system, which I don't think I have to explain why that is not a secure, fail-safe, transparent method of firearm control. It's also against the law because, according to the regulations, this type of central database, electronic real-time tracking system must be operational and be in use. So switching it off is not an option. That's again, this is the cops breaking the actual law, which is something they've been doing so much now that it's almost become redundant to speak about it. But my whole point is, now if we look at civilian gun control and if you look at the amnesty that's happened, we warned the government, we want Parliament, we want the police, and I think I just lost Joe. I hope he's going to
No, no,
come
no.
back.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
there we
here.
go.
I'm here. Just
Oh,
putting the
fantastic.
focus on you.
You can do that. The thing with it is we warned them that these amnesty guns were going to find their way, as the previous ones have, into criminal hands, and they have it on good authority that just in Cape Town alone, around 8 guns that were marked for destruction have already been recovered from crime scenes that are amnesty guns. The police have no control over their most crucial and vital internal systems. They have not maintained them, they've not looked after them, they're not operational. So how on earth can we entrust them with the Central Farms Registry, which they have no legal mandate that they have to administer it? That function can be passed on literally to anybody else, including the private sector. And all the police has succeeded in doing with the CFR is to break it. Like they've broken the forensics, the PCAM system, how they've broken their foreign permit system, how they've broken the last 4 serviceable helicopters in the Eastern Cape, which means the entire province there doesn't have any serviceable helicopters at all. That was now in the news this week. There's this, you hear about the ammunition shortages where constables get deployed in operations and they've got 3 rounds of 9mm in their magazine. And it's like, well, you're going to go do raids with this? Like, really?
They just got to have good aim.
They got to a point where they were so...
That's a terrible joke.
Point. They were relying on private security to assist them with raids and visible policing. That has now been stopped by a directive. They have cops implicated in assassinations of other cops who were investigating them for wrongdoing. I mean,
jeez,
I don't even know. Like I said, it's such a shit show. I don't have the time to actually explain. We would have a far shorter show if you said to me, Gideon, like, what parts of the SAPS are still functioning? And then we'd be over and done in 5 minutes, because I can tell you which parts I think are still kind of working. But it's bad. And it was a slow decline, and it's sped up so much now that I don't think by the end of this year, at the current trajectory, the police will still be functional. I mean, they'll still go to work and there might still be people in the station, but apart from taking statements and maybe certifying some documents, if they even have the fucking ink for that, because they ran out of that last year at a couple of stations near me, they couldn't do certifications. Apart from that, you're not going to see them patrolling. You're not going to see them arresting criminals. You're certainly not going to see them, being useful beyond that. And that is, as we had discussed offline, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think the only way we're going to get decentralized policing, federalized policing, and significant reform is when the entire thing crashes, which it now unavoidably will, because I don't believe anyone can save it, because they don't have the will to do it. They don't want to save it.
No, I agree with you on that. I think Beketele is just having a laugh. I don't think he really cares at all. He's just enjoying the fruits of his lazing about. I know I changed that saying, but it's really what he's doing. I don't think. Actually, wait. Before I continue with that thought, I want to just go back a moment, because you said a lot of things now that are very scary. And I knew a lot about the DNA side of things. I didn't know a lot about the firearm side of things. So there are 2 systems that are down.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah. And they're from the same service provider. And so they're both from forensic data analysts. And the issue is between 2013 and 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 2018. So that's 6-year period. The police allegedly lost about 4,500 firearms. Now, I pour a bit of cold water on that, because their previous rate of loss was like 1,500 firearms per year, not 400 or 500 a year.
Sure.
So I think they lost a lot more than that. But the worst part is they admitted that they lost 9.5 million rounds of ammunition is just fucking gone. It's that is a staggering amount of ammunition. It's just.
Do you? Sorry, just a quick question. Do you think that maybe the ammunition is sold on the black market because some of the cops maybe want some extra cash?
I'm absolutely convinced that the stuff has been sold to cash in transit, card gangs. Well, cash in transit gangs, as well as normal gangs. They've probably been sold to, for all we know, to insurrectionists in the north of Mozambique. Who fucking knows where these things have gone? Like, that's a lot of ammo that's just gone walkies. And now that was with the system functioning. Now, I mean, it really is a free fall. Like,
because
the risk of getting caught with
sorry, just to touch again on the part that you mentioned that's very important that people need to understand is, again, 2 systems are down, one of which now we know tracks the firearms within the police service. This is like cataloging and evidence if it needs to be thrown away, the amnesty thing. And right now it's being dealt or cataloged or tracked rather with pen and paper.
Yeah.
And
I mean, with pen and paper, like, entries might not be made.
Lied.
There might be fraudulent entries. Entries can go missing. You just tear a page out when no one's looking. There's no real accountability. That entire central monitoring of things, which didn't work that great, in the sense of it couldn't prevent a lot of fuckery, but it prevented some by its very nature. It at least allowed detection and tracing of it. Now it's a case of everything is at station level. If I am a corrupt armorer and I've got a corrupt colleague, I can take 5 R5 rifles out the armory with full magazines, not sign them out through the system. They can end up in the hands of cash and transit robbers who go do a heist with it. And I say to them, you just need to get the stuff back to me within a week or 2 or 3. It's fine. They get caught, the guns get recovered, but they don't have, they removed some of the serial numbers, or they didn't at all. No one knows which stations these guns came from because the central system is down. So they now have to, if it happened in another province, they're now going to have to go through individual stations, inventories, to try and trace. They need to find 5 guns out of 500,000 scattered across thousands of police stations across the country.
So they will have to, someone will have to physically go to every station and look at the books, basically.
Yeah.
This is manually.
Yeah, and you hope that the person looking at the books is not corrupt themselves, gives enough of a fuck to do a proper job, is taking it seriously enough, is getting paid enough to do it. It's just the resources to police this type of system, I don't think exists in the SAPS. They just don't have the processing power to do it.
I'm sorry, Gideon. I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was this bad. It's just like my conversation with Aziza on Monday evening. She also shared some interesting facts that really shocked me, and now this. I knew it was bad. I didn't realize how bad it was. There's just because you get a lot of times people, like, when you try and talk about this and you try and tell someone we need to freaking do something. This reaction seems to be a very common reaction, which is, but the SAPs have always been cuck. It's but now they were cuck before. And again, I don't mean to generalize. I know that there are some good apples, very good apples, that are trying to fight the good fight. There always are, but unfortunately, they're very few and far between. So the majority that we're talking about here have let down the people, and that's why the people feel that way. The people feel that SAPS has disowned the people, and they were useless in 2020, in the 2000, 2007, 8, 9, 10, I don't know. From 2010 onwards, let's say, people started to feel, you know what, SAPS is useless. Now, I don't even think you can call them SAPs.
It's already worrying when people say stuff like that, because you're like, okay, so if your microwave oven smokes every time you use it, and it's done so for 10 years, and now it started catching fire and it's burning in your kitchen, are you just going to go, the microwave's been shit for 10 years. This is just what it does. Oh God, there goes the cupboards, and all the dishcloths have caught fire.
Exactly. You need to do something before it gets out of hand, and that's Yeah, that's
that's
the
how it
most
makes.
frustrating thing for me is like I know that there's a lot of things that are wrong with South Africa. I've been trying to bring it to the forefront. You, Ramon, Big Daddy Liberty, I can go on and on with all the alternative media that we have in South Africa that are trying to wake the South African public. But it just feels like, I think what Aziza said about, fatigue is definitely a thing. People are more worried about how the hell they're going to pay rent at the end of the month rather than worrying about SAPS. But that's the thing, though. God forbid it happens to you. God forbid your family member gets attacked. Your friend gets murdered. Someone close to you, something happens, and they were shot with a firearm that wasn't cataloged correctly. You'll never see justice.
And it's the thing that also gets to me is the fact that this is coming not from just a random dysfunctional state institution. This is coming from the one that's responsible for upholding law and order. It's a pretty significant and important portfolio. This is not like a Mickey Mouse thing. And they're the ones that themselves are failing to obey the law, and they're failing to obey the law repeatedly. Yet, if a civilian fails to do paperwork for their firearm license renewal, which means that, on time, this is for a gun that they've legally owned for at least half a decade, if not longer, they get the entire book, kitchen sink, and sack of hammers thrown at them. So the standards are not even double. I don't have an adequate analogy for what this is, but it's not a double standard. It's worse. It's far worse. The SAPS should be held at the highest possible standard because of their privileged position as being the law enforcers. Yet civilians are held to this massively high standard, and the cops can just, they only need to do a qualification shoot maybe every 2 years now when there's ammo. If they can't go out to attend a scene or a complaint, that's just the way it is. We need to live with a 2 hour or 4 hour response time if they even pitch. And we must just accept the fact that they can no longer process any forensic evidence because they chose not to pay a service provider, even though the money was ring fenced. They decided to behave maliciously and then steal his intellectual property. Oh, and now they're leaking guns to gangsters because of it. So the only people who benefit from this is like, we would be better off without the police, for the simple reason that is my firm belief that they're actually facilitating more bloody crime than they're actually combating it. And this has got nothing to do with them all being bad. There are good cops there, but if the good cops are directly prevented from doing their jobs at all, then the only cops that are doing anything are the bad ones, and they're not doing the good stuff. So the relationship is inherently disproportional in the wrong direction.
I once I don't want to divulge too much because the individual asked me to keep it a secret. But this individual was involved in SAPS, and he changed his career path. He had worked for SAPS for, I think, 5 years, if I remember correctly. And when I asked him, well, why did you leave? Seems like a pretty cool job to have or whatever. This is before I knew a lot, by the way. This is before I knew any of this, of what was going on in South Africa. And he said, Joe, if I have to tell you even 5% of what I witnessed in my career, you would want to shoot yourself. And that really took me aback. And he was like, let's just say I thought the cops were a certain way, found out they weren't, so I quit and changed. And he was someone who, I know, I'm saying this because I know that there are cops out there that do want to do good. They genuinely want to change things, to be a good cop, to uphold the law. I know that. I've met them. But unfortunately, they're in a system. I don't even think you can change it within.
No, and it's a system that goes out of its way to make their lives as miserable as possible, to make their jobs as difficult as possible, and to withhold from them and deny them the necessary resources to do effective policing out of a matter of malice, incompetence, and criminality. And this is the thing: you're working in a sick organization that, and you're still trying to do good, and you don't even have one hand tied behind your back anymore. Like your employer is actively trying to dismember you in order to prevent you from doing any good at all. In October 2018, the Commissioner of Police, sorry, my notebook keeps sliding off this thing and it's beginning to irritate me, but I'll just keep it there. The Commissioner, Kehla Shitole, said that the SAPS mandate is the SAPS is overstretched. And it is impossible for the police to fulfill its constitutional mandate. And I mean, that was going on 2.5, nearly 3 years ago. And that wasn't a new revelation. He was just saying what everyone knew already at that time. So if your police service cannot fulfill its constitutional mandate, surely that's a matter of utmost urgency to pardon my French here, but I've got no better description, to unfuck that situation, like post haste. That never happened, because as all things in South Africa is, we don't solve problems. I mean, okay, bear in mind, from what I've seen from Tina Joemat-Petersen, I've been a vehement critic of her. I've had a lot of not nice things to say about her, but I have to admit that I have admired her stance on these two particular issues. I think if she stands firm on them, as I hope to God she does, she could be a agent for positive change. And I'm a very cynical bastard, as you well know. So this is not something that's easy for me to say. And I'm hoping that I'm not misjudging reading it. But that is an exception to the rule. The ANC doesn't solve problems. They create commissions of inquiry. They have these humongous, like, drawn out multi-year investigations that are ultimately toothless because they pull the teeth from them, so that they come with some sort of conclusion or ruling that's either ambiguous or unenforceable. And it's like, oh, cool, we've established what the problem is. Everyone get back to work now. And it's like, but you haven't put the wheels back on, guys. What the fuck? And nope, no, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, look, I think you have every reason to be, critical and also cynical, and like, I don't blame you. After what I saw or heard today at the commission, I was just like, I mean, like, oh man, I don't know if it was a mistake or what it was, but when they were done, you just heard them laughing and joking around, and again, I don't know if that was a mistake, that they didn't know their mics were on or something, or they didn't know they were still on the Zoom call, but they were like, yeah, okay, the seriousness is done now. Let's just, cool, let's forget what we said now. I don't know. It just didn't feel in good taste to me that, they felt like they were just putting on a show when it was, they knew people were watching. And then the moment it was adjourned, they were like, cool, let's just move on. It's next week's problem. I need to go, get a coffee or something.
That's politics in South Africa. That's kind of I've sat in on my share of portfolio committee meetings, and I can say one thing though, is the SAPS probably have the worst PowerPoint presentations in the world. There might be someone who can top them, but I have never seen people try to cram so much information into one slide to the point of it becoming utterly illegible. And that's when I was like, okay, I still believe parliamentarians are overpaid, but geez, like, if you're going to subject me to these types of 4-hour PowerPoint presentations on like a weekly basis, then yeah, I also want to get paid for my, to compensate me for this trauma. But that also, again, if you're presenting something to a parliamentary portfolio committee, which is a very serious, or it's supposed to be a very serious entity, you can't go there with like standard 7 PowerPoint skills. It's like presenting to the board of a big corporation a progress report on a project. Yet this is the level of competence that's accepted as normal. And I mean, I laughed, but it actually held deeper implications, and I think I acknowledged at the time.
Yeah. No, I think, look, I sometimes feel bad for laughing when we talk about this stuff because, it's a serious topic, but at the same time, you can't help but laugh. You can't help it, and you're absolutely right about the PowerPoint presentation. And I don't know, dude, there's just so much that is. Here's a question. Is there hope?
I think there is. And maybe it's okay, maybe because I'm a weird guy, but I never saw that the ANC was ever going to fix what it broke. Not by choice, never by choice. They are too committed to two things. The one is the competent ones among them are committed to socialism, to the National Democratic Revolution, to all these bad Maoist, Leninist, Stalinist ideas that just have no place, not only in the these are ideas that destroyed nations and millions upon millions of lives in the 20th century. And the other part of the ANC that's not committed fucking socialists are the ones that want to steal as much as possible in the shortest amount of time with zero consequences. The only way that anything was going to get fixed is if they eventually broke everything to the point where it gets taken away from them, not by government, because they're in government, but by society, where society makes them irrelevant. Now, the downside to that is, in the period while that is happening, those who can't afford to make government irrelevant are really going to suffer, because they're going to be the ones without electricity, without reliable running water, without medical services or health services, without policing, without security, without any sort of safety net. And they really are going to be cut adrift. And my only advice is, like, if you do not have some sort of resilience or sufficient self-sufficiency, I recommend you focus hard on acquiring that quickly, because the government isn't going to be your safety net. It shouldn't, but it really isn't, because it's falling to pieces. And ultimately, until such time as this country matures politically, if it ever does in my lifetime, to facilitate real political change, the best we can hope for is that government becomes so ineffective it becomes irrelevant entirely, which is not necessary. It's not the sort of thing that some people are like. I'm probably the only person in a room of 100 that would be kind of happy with that, because I'm like, okay, I'm all right with government not being there for me. I'm okay, like, collaborating with like-minded individuals and pioneering my own way. For the rest of society, it's going to be a very rude wake-up call, but it's a growing pain we have to go through.
Yeah, I mean, I see Morning Shots watching. Hello, Ramon Kabanek, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. He says no to hope with an exclamation mark. I don't think I've ever seen him use an exclamation mark. So he really feels strongly about this one. He says hope is for people who don't want to do the woke. He means work.
So I thought they got the wook like the cook. I was going, where was Ramon going with this comment? That's interesting. Tell us more.
I don't know. Maybe I've always been a bit of an optimist, and I think I don't know. Hope is not a bad thing, in my opinion. I think some people do need hope to help fight the good fight. They need something to believe in. They need something to work towards. Those that are willing to work. I mean, Star Wars is an epic tale of that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think hope is all bad, but I do understand why people don't like hope as well, because you can sell hope and use it depending on the side that is selling the hope, it could be a bad thing as well. I mean, ANC is
Well,
is
I
a good
think the
example of that.
worst abuse of hope I think we've ever seen was the Nazis' use of hope to fuel their rise to power in 1933. But I mean, that's
There we go. Yeah.
just for the Bianca van Wyks out there. No, we're not zig heiling on the show, nor is that our intention. We're not fucking Nazis. Get a grip. Read another book except Harry Potter. But you the most cynical thing I've heard about hope, funny enough, is someone said hope is nothing but delayed disappointment. I'll go, but the key to that is the disappointment is also a product of what did you put in to the situation. Because if you're just a passenger in life and you're just hoping for change all the time, yeah, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is just sitting and hoping, and no one's going. I mean, everyone on the bridge of the Titanic could just sit there and hope, oh, it's okay. We're taking on water and the thing is breaking in two pieces and imminently about to capsize. But I hope we don't all drown and die. It's like, well, you need to do something to facilitate positive change. It's a weird thing that we're having to say that, because I think the audience, your audience at least, understands this. I think I'm preaching to the choir, but
I think a lot of actually, I've had a lot of people who don't believe in hope. Apparently, I think, but I don't know. Look, I love what you just said. It actually sums it up perfectly, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. You're either someone who basically has hope and does nothing, or you do something about it. So like I said, it can be used as a motivational tool, and sometimes in the wrong hands, it can be evil. But I mean, to say that hope is hopeless, nah, I disagree with that statement. But yeah.
Ramon really doesn't like hope.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's like, guys, the whole country is going to shit. Get your minds out of, like, there's no hope. Okay, we're all going down. The ship is sinking. Nobody's doing fuck all about it. Okay, we're all gonna die. World's coming to an end. ANC will be in power forever and ever. And no matter how much we kick and fuss and all that stuff, it will be pointless. So yeah, I think that's Ramon's attitude at the moment.
Although he is doing quite a bit of kicking and fighting. So
yeah, I know.
In fact, he's our what's it called, fearless leader in this. So one of them, one of that make up the tip of the sword. So I don't know what's driving Ramon. Maybe it's just violent, angry anarchism.
Yeah,
and
I think,
you know what?
Yes,
if you dig deep. Anger is a useful emotion. It's more useful than despair, like by an extreme amount. So if you have to choose one of the two, don't be depressed, be angry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find something that pisses you off and hold on to that.
Exactly. I know Ramon is fighting the good fight, and I'm just teasing him. I think he's the one that broke this story, as a matter of fact, which I'm like, which was awesome.
He is. He was the first guy who got the scoop, and and I'm not going to say sadly, but sadly also one of the few that keeps running with it. The apathy from the corporate media has just been, well, I mean, I'd like to say it's astounding, but is it really astounding? It's disappointing, but it's only disappointing if you expect it differently.
I think, and I don't want this to happen, but someone either important or someone with some kind of significance, so maybe it's their age, maybe it's like, I hate saying this, but a specific skin color, someone needs to be heavily affected by this system that has either a lot of influence, like a unfortunate, I hate this word as well, victim, almost like not a sacrifice, but like a victim that needs to like fall for people to start gaining an interest, especially if that victim is loved by a lot of people. When people, and I think that's one thing that will then people will start saying like, oh crap, this is actually happening. Whoa, this is actually real. I heard Ramon talking about this, but I didn't think it was like this, you know. I didn't think so and so was gonna wow, so and so is never gonna see justice. Oh my god, like come on guys, we need this, can't happen anymore. And unfortunately, that's kind of how humans are as well. Like something big has to happen. You know, and again,
So
you know,
there's that actually, if you don't mind, if we make this kind of like the final thought for the evening, because I think it's also a real powerful one to do. Because I got a slide. Apologies to everyone, but
okay.
What I see often is people go through a really traumatic event, then they react to that trauma, and they suddenly, with a lot of energy and vigor, facilitate change. Now, I would prefer people avoid it, but the human thing seems to be we always need to slam the stable door shut after the horse is long gone. And it's a thing that in World War II, they tried figuring out, or the United States Air Force at least tried figuring out which sections of their airplanes to put armor on to, prevent them from getting shot down. So all the airplanes that came back to base, they would map where the whole bullet holes are, and then they'd put armor in that section until a guy actually said, listen, those are the airplanes that made it back, dude. We should be putting the armor where the bullet holes aren't, because those are the spots where that clearly are causing the issues, and where the guys, that don't come back get nailed. And it's that same thing. We're always reactive, and often we are reactive to the wrong information or the wrong direction. So we need to. This is why your show is important. It gives direction. It gives good information, and it's a bit of a compass for people to use to realign themselves as to where they sit regarding the issues. So my thing to people is, know your position, know where you are, know where you're going, understand the situation, and be proactive and not reactive. Try to be as proactive as possible. I know most of the audiences, if not all of them, but for those who aren't Joe's usual audience who are watching this at some point, do that.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely. Do you have to bounce?
I have to bounce, unfortunately, but I'd love to come back on. In fact, I had a chat to Aziza earlier, and she actually said, if you have no objections, we'd love to do a tag team. What's that hashtag? No homo or whatever on your show at some point. It would be really cool.
Of course. I'll send you some dates, and I'll have you both on, and maybe even Ramon, if he's still watching, if he wants to join as well. Definitely we could talk more about this topic. But thank you for sharing, or at least talk about updates with this topic. But thank you for sharing, especially the insightful information about the firearm side of things, which I didn't know a lot about. I knew little. You expanded a lot more on that, so thank you very much. I will be clipping some of the interview as well and putting it out on social media, hopefully get more eyes on this conversation. So Gideon, sorry once again for being late on you, man. Next time we'll make it an hour, but yeah, I understand you gotta go, so yeah, dude.
It's my pleasure being here, Joe. Thank you so much for organizing and the invite, and I'm looking forward to come back. It'll be cool.
Fantastic.
It always is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. I'll chat to you later.
Chat to you soon. Cheers, Joe. Cheers, audience. Bye.
Cheers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Gideon Joubert from Paratus. Once again, his link is in the description below. Seeing as it's a bit of an early cut, I'm not going to go on much longer, but what I will do is I will start another stream, impromptu stream. I saw a lot of you asking about the background, so I will explain in an upcoming stream in about 10 minutes or 5 minutes, sorry. So, but please, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, please. It'd be greatly appreciated. Also, check out the Telegram notification channel. It's just for notifications, not a group. Don't worry, you're not going to be bombarded with different messages from random people. It's just for notifications. So please subscribe to that. Also, don't forget to check out rebelstoreza.com. And also, if you want to support me monthly for as little as $5, check out the link in the description below. And yeah, in 3 months' time, you can get a Rebel hat of your choosing. It's really cool. And there's one in the background right now. Hashtag Futsec ANC. Yes. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I will have Gideon back and Aziza back, and we'll talk about we'll talk more about this topic. It's very interesting. So thank you all so much, and thank you to all the familiar faces for coming back and watching. And oh, this is very important. Morning Shot says that the carte blanche this Sunday will be talking about the SAPS system being down. So please, ladies and gentlemen, check it out. Yeah, it's on carte blanche. So it's a big deal now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back very shortly. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you just now. And if I don't see you there, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.